about that. This is coming from people who we have voted for and elected to represent us. They took an oath to the Constitution to uphold the Constitution whilst in office on behalf of the citizens of this nation. But unfortunately, for far too long we have been listening to our elected politicians on mainstream TV stations and radio stations speaking about democracy. Democracy this, democracy that.
It's a fucking dictatorship.
The Republic of Ireland is not a democracy. And that's mistake number one that these politicians are making. The Republic of Ireland is a constitutional republic. And what that means to the common man is that the TDs and councillors that we elect to represent me, you, the people of this county, are to uphold our Constitution and govern in accordance to our Constitution. But somewhere over the last number of years, the Irish Constitution has become worthless. And I, for one, as a proud Irishman, a proud father, and a very proud husband, will not stand idly by and do nothing to uphold the Constitution of this country. And the reason I'm doing it is for my children. There's one guy there filming, and there's his twin brother sitting there in a wheelchair eating a packet of crisps. I have been fighting for the last 15 years against our government to have services for my son. Speech and language, physio, occupational therapy. We are currently coming up on 8 months waiting for a wheelchair because he's outgrown the last one. And the reason for it is there's no money. There's nobody in that position because we're not paying the money to attract the people into the position. There's plenty of money in this country, and it's being spent frivolously by the people that we elected to represent Ireland and its citizens first and foremost. Now, this meeting or this rally that we're here at today, it's not about immigration, and it's not about race. It's not about creed, and it's not about religion, despite what you hear on mainstream media. The Irish are renowned worldwide for being so generous in relation to sending funds to countries that have been devastated by earthquakes, Haiti, to helping funds in Ukraine at the beginning. We all here as children had trochra boxes from school where we give a few bob. So the Irish are renowned worldwide for being generous. But at some stage, generosity runs out if it gets stretched too far. And as I'm speaking to you here now today, we have in excess of 3,000 people on the Wexford County Council housing list. I'm going to say that to you again. We have 3,000 people on the housing list in County Wexford alone. And yet, we are building accommodation, residential accommodation, the length and breadth of this mighty county, and the Irish need not apply because it's not for them. And that's wrong. That is fundamentally 100% wrong. If I was to say that to anybody 5 years ago, you would have laughed at me and said it was a head case. People say that about me now because I'm standing up for what I believe in. That's the truth. That is the truth of it. And we have young parents with young, small children that take sick. And when they ring the doctor, they're told, bring little Johnny in Wednesday fortnight at 2 o'clock because I don't have an appointment. And when you bring in little Johnny, it can only be for one problem. I only want to see him about the bruise. I can't see him about, the vomiting. Or I only want to see him about the knock on the head. I can't see him about the sprained ankle. What has happened? What has happened to this country that we, and when I say we, I'm speaking collectively to everyone here, we have allowed this to happen. Every one of us has to stand up and take responsibility for our inactions. And a paper cut alone won't kill you. But if you get 1,000 of them, you're going to be in trouble then. And what's happening is the Irish society, the Irish heritage, and the Irish culture is coming up on multiple thousands of paper cuts at the minute. And we have to stand up to protect what is left of this country, not just for us, but for their children and the next generation coming. Now, people will say, I'm Irish. What does it mean to be Irish in Ireland today? Anybody? Anybody? There's a man there looking in front of me. What does it mean to you to be Irish? What makes you proud to be Irish? Your history. Well, I'm a lover of history myself, okay? And I have spent a lot of time since I was a young, skinny teenager learning songs about the history of this fine nation, stories about truths that had happened. Yet, not too long ago, we had a fine Irish musician from this very county who was demonised and discriminated against for singing Irish songs in Wexford. A man by the name of Luke Whitty, a fine Irish singer. Now, people from around the world, and there's in excess of 192 countries in this planet, people from around the world know the Irish for their music, for the sing-song, and for telling stories of the past. We are the home of the Dáil Gore. We are the home of the Shanachie. We're the home of the scholar, the poet. But yet, if we express any of this in our own county here, you're ridiculed. That has to stop. It has to stop. And by people standing idly by and watching from the fences, no one is coming to save the person who is being bullied. And what has happened, sadly, in this country is the scales. Everybody knows what the scales look like, okay? And it has to be balanced. It just has to be balanced. At the moment, the scale has gone right down on the left-hand side, all the way to the floor. And anybody that speaks against it or tries to get the equilibrium right so we can all live in a balanced society is branded. I know you're not far right. I know you're not anti-immigration or racist. But I know you're a proud Irishman, And I know you're a proud Leinster supporter, And I'm looking out here at all these people, and everyone knows what I'm saying is the truth. It is the truth. And it's time for the truth to speak up. Because the truth needs nothing to defend it. The truth is like a lion going out across the Serengeti. It doesn't need anything to defend it. Nothing. And it's time the truth is spoken in this country, and make no apology for it. We have taken lots and lots of immigrants into this country over the last 30 years especially. And yes, the immigrants have been extremely good for this country. And I, for one, can vouch for that, because both me and my wife spent 12 whole months locked in a cell, a glass cell, that was about 10 foot by 8 foot, with a child that was dying. And only 4 immigrants, nurses, Filipinos, Indian doctors, Pakistani doctors. I would be 1 child down today. 1 child down. So I'm not anti-immigration under any circumstances, and nor is the party I represent, Ireland First. We're not anti-immigration. But again, I can tell you what we are. We are anti-illegal immigration. And I'll make no apology for that either. Our government and our lawmakers, they put the laws in place to protect our society. And the 2004 Immigration Act clearly states, unequivocally states, that any adult that enters this country without the proper documentation is susceptible to 12 months in prison or a €3,000 fine. And since 2019 to the end of 2023, so you could say 3.5 years of figures, 1 single person was charged under the 2004 Immigration Act. Just 1. We have 110,000 people have come into this country in the last couple of years. And those figures were reported from the Irish Times.
They're fake.
In relation to that Immigration Act. So this isn't anti-immigration, and I'm not about anti-immigration. But we need our government to enforce the laws. Now, I'm sure all of you remember the Lisbon Treaty from a couple of years back. The Lisbon Treaty was voted yes by the population of Ireland here, by the majority. In the Lisbon Treaty, both Ireland and Denmark, they are the only 2 countries that were offered an opt-out clause on immigration to get the treaty over the line. And the reason it was offered was because Denmark was such a small country and Ireland was such a small island nation. And it was offered because both our governments put it to the EU that if the immigration part of this policy was not adhered to, that the social fabric of our countries, Denmark and Ireland, would be eroded. So the EU gave Ireland and Denmark that opt-out clause, and the Lisbon Treaty was put over the line. Why is our government today not standing on the mandate they were given for the Lisbon Treaty? Why are they blatantly ignoring the mandate that they were given under the Lisbon Treaty by the people of Ireland? Denmark has ratified their abstention, and the reason they done it was because they were in fear of the social fabric of their own country breaking down. That's what's happening here today. And the people in government are the ones that are causing the citizens the most harm. I don't blame immigrants from other countries to come here. And the reason I don't blame them, legal or illegal, I don't blame them coming here. Why? Because this is a great, great country. It has great, great people, and it is renowned worldwide for its warmth, empathy, and compassion to its fellow man. But at some stage, for the love of Christ, if the captain of this ship doesn't turn it around, and we keep taking on survivors, this ship is going down. This ship is going to go down. And it's up to you, the people. It's up to every one of you out there, and your families, to make your voice heard. Not everybody out there, I understand, can do what I do, and come up and address issues and speak the way I speak. But I know deep down, in here, that the majority of people in Ireland, and when I say the majority, the latest figures I have is approximately 75 to 78%. The majority of people in here know what they have to do. They know what they have to do. And that's why I'm running for local elections in Gorey. This isn't even my constituency. I'm running for local elections in Gorey. And I'm putting myself forward to be the voice of genuine Irish people that feel aggrieved by their government. I'm putting myself forward to be the voice for parents of disabled children who are being abused day in and day out by the very organisation that is supposed to be helping them. And on a personal note, she'll kill me for saying this, but on a personal note, 99% of the arguments that myself and my wife have are not in relation to anything else. It's always in relation to the problems we have with our child trying to get services. Darren, why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep sending emails? Why do you keep going, shouting and bawling and causing problems? They're just not going to give it to us. I won't accept that. I won't accept it. I won't accept it for my own child. And I won't accept it for any elderly person either. Because we have elderly people in County Wexford. And this is heartbreaking. Elderly people in their 70s and 80s who built this goddamn country on hungry bellies. And they are lying now in nursing homes in this county. And when their incontinence wear allotment runs out, they get allotted a certain amount of incontinence wear from the HSE per month. If their incontinence wear runs out in week 3, do you know what the HSE's answer to it is? Tough. There's no more till the 1st. You'll have to buy your own incontinence wear. Now I can tell you, from a child who is doubly incontinent, there is nowhere to purchase the incontinence wear for old age people in nursing homes. You cannot go into Pettit's or Aldi and Lidl and buy them. And the reason that the government or the HSE say they can't give more, money, we don't have the money. I can tell you what the government is spending the money on. Our government opened direct provision in 1999 in this country. And from 1999 to 2020, our government spent 1.67 billion, with a B, 1.67 billion euros on the direct provision system in 20 years. Does anyone have an idea of how much our government has spent in the last 2 years housing illegal immigrants into this country? They have spent 1.87 billion euros of your money. 1.87 billion. So they have spent more than the last 2 years housing illegal immigrants. And to say that there's no link in crime and immigration is a fallacy. It's a fallacy. And how you know it's a fallacy is because I've checked. I've checked. And I searched. And I looked to see if I could get a breakdown on figures in relation to crime and the nationality of the perpetrators of the crimes. Oh, we don't do that. We don't do that anymore. That's not something we keep a record of. I'm not saying they're hiding that. But if you had figures to back it up, wouldn't you be screaming down from the rooftops? I know I would. So, what do we do? What do we do? How do we fix this problem? How do we fix this problem? We fix this problem by small steps. And the first way we fix it is, well, the first way I'm trying to fix it for my family is I made a conscious decision at Christmas time to stand up and speak my mind. And I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what people think about Darren McGovern. Because sticks and stones will break me bones. Names won't hurt me. Call me far right. Call me a fascist. Call me a racist. Call me whatever it is you want. Nazi. These are all the things I've been called online in the last month. By people who never met me. By people who don't know me. And by people who don't understand why I am standing up. Charity begins at home. And in order for the Irish people to give more of themselves, we have to be able to look after ourselves first. And again, that's why I joined the Ireland First party. Because there is no party out there representing us, representing the people of Ireland. We have seen opposition parties. I'll give you a good one. I seen only last night an opposition party organising a counter-protest to the nationalist protest that's on in Dublin tomorrow, or on Monday that I'm attending, speaking at. And their protest is about stopping racism. Well, let's stop the racism. Let's stop it, I agree. But for the love of Christ, can we stop the racism against the Irish race first? First! I won't take up too much more of your time because I know it's an inclement day and everybody has things to do and places to go. But just in closing, what I want to say is that it's up to us, and when I say us, I'm talking collectively of people who I believe think like me. It's up to us true Irish nationalists to protect our history and to protect our way of life from being eroded. And I'll make no apology for that. We need to stand tall. The Irish people need to stand tall. We need to unite. And we need to be steadfast. And the reason for that is because, in my opinion, I believe there is a storm brewing. There is a storm coming. And it's up to us. Because it's only when we take risks that our lives improve. And the initial and most difficult risk that the people of Ireland need to take is to be honest. That's the biggest, hardest risk that the people of Ireland and the people of Wexford need to take. We need to be honest. We need to be honest for ourselves. We need to be honest for our children. But more importantly, we need to be honest for our nation. This country, this wonderful country, has given all of us the pieces required to achieve exceptional things. However, it has left it up to us to pull those pieces together. And the time to pull together is now. The time to be honest about this country's future is now. And the time for nationalists to mobilise for this country is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, because we cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. It cannot be done. And to quote a very famous patriotic son of Ireland by the name of Padraig Pearse, nothing that has happened or can ever happen can alter the truth of it. And that truth is that Ireland belongs to the Irish. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Darren McGovern. I'm from the Ireland First Party, and I want to thank each and all of you very, very much for attending here today. Thank you, and go to Míle Maithí a Córide.
Hey, you got something there?